If it's in Hampton Roads, it's on the Hampton Roads Show.
Welcome to the Hampton Roads Show, everyone. Our live audience today is from the Kadeem Shrine Center in Chesapeake. Coming up a little bit later, we're going to find out about their annual seafood festival and how you can get your hands on one of those hot tickets.
Then let's head into the kitchen. Chef Tim McGee from Stratford University School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management. He's making pork shumai and shrimp tago.
And if you love a good cup of coffee, then this week's I Am Hampton Roads is just for you. Coming up, we're going to introduce you to the dynamic duo behind Starboard's Coffee Kiosk.
I'm looking forward to that. And kids heading back to school, bullying may be top of mind. Our friends at Chesapeake Bay Academy have some tips to identify and deal with what really is an epidemic.
Plus, we're going to talk about distracted driving, and a really interesting documentary is coming to the Sandler Center for the Performing Arts. We're going to give you a preview in just a bit. But first, good morning to you, Mr. David Culver.
Well,
welcome.
Good morning, Miss Ariane. It's great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you on the couch here. So you decided to go with the jacket.
I went a little formal today.
It's cool.
Is this all right?
No,
do we like this? I think
it works.
We went a little more formal. We got a great show, though.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of stuff going on. So we'll, I guess, dive right into our hot topics.
Let's get right into
them.
This
first one?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a controversy, especially for us here in this military town of Hampton Roads. A new book is coming out. It's dealing with a first-hand account of the Osama bin Laden raid. This is the raid back in May 2nd of 2011 that, of course, killed the most notorious terrorist of our time, Osama bin Laden. That's the book cover. No Easy Day is what it's called, and it's published by Penguin. And this is getting a lot of controversy because, as we said, this is a first-hand account, meaning somebody who was on that raid, a Navy SEAL who's now retired. They're not releasing his name. He's written this under a pseudonym with another co-author. But they're saying that there are some details here that could be very questionable when it comes to national security. So the Pentagon's been questioned about this, the National Security Council's been questioned about this, the Navy's been questioned about this. All are saying they had no idea about the book, and they really don't know what's in it. Nobody's reviewed it.
Yeah, and even though, you know, he wrote under with somebody else, everybody, I'm sure, knows who possibly the finger is being pointed to, because there are some details about who he is, kind of where he's from, and if you narrow it down.
Well, and you think about the SEALs in our community especially, and this is a very tight-knit group, a very close group. As you mentioned, they're going to know things about each other. We already know he's from Alaska. We know he was in the service for 13 deployments. So, you know, when you know those little details, somebody who's close is clearly going to know who it is. But maybe they're not going to say anything because of, you know, the fraternity that they have.
Right. Like, I don't think they would come out and blast his name per se, but I just wonder what was going through his mind, or what even led him to write something like this, to get it off his chest, or just to put it out there and to get some recognition. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Just very odd.
I want to know what folks at home have to say about this and what they feel about it, especially being here in Hampton Roads.
Right.
I can say, as a journalist, we like these things. Of course, we want to know what it's like. We're very curious people, and we want to, you know a step-by-step,
account. But then, are we threatening, national security? Are we revealing too much information?
It's a fine line.
Could it hurt, future missions? I don't know. It is a very fine line. But being that this is a big military community, it'll be very interesting to see, and within the SEAL community, how they feel about it.
Yeah, that's interesting to see.
I don't know. They probably have to just remain tight-lipped. Something's already happened. But
we'll see what comes out of this.
Yes.
Definitely log on to thehamptonroadshow.com. Let us know.
Absolutely. Send us your comments on that. Also, of course, they defend our country, and we're also kind of keeping with defense here, so be it. But this next guy, Ladies Love Cool J, that's what the LL stands for. He's, of course, he plays an agent on NCIS, but I guess earlier this week, an intruder got into his home, tripped the alarm, and I guess it turned out to be a homeless man. But, LL just decided to take matters into his own hands, those big muscles that he has.
Okay, let's stick to the facts of the story.
I guess there was some kind of confrontation, physical confrontation. He actually held down the intruder until police arrived and put him into custody. But it just goes to ask, he's a big-time celebrity. He had an alarm system, but somebody still got in. Could you, if you were faced with that same situation, how would you feel? Or has that ever happened to you, God forbid? What would you do if somebody
obviously it's a tough situation,
came to the Culver home?
Clearly in my mind I would say, I would fight that person. I would, have this step-by-step plan, but especially in the middle of the night, you're groggy when you wake up.
Yeah.
You don't know sometimes where you are, and I can't say for sure what I'd do.
I don't either. I don't know. I would probably I'd be scared. I mean, obviously your first instinct would be to like grab the phone or something, but then maybe find something to defend yourself. But then do you have like a baseball bat by the bed, or if you're a female?
Let me just say, I would not break into your home because I would not trust how you would react.
No, we had, when I was little, the only like anything close to something like that happening, we lived in Nebraska. My brother and I were little in cribs, and somebody actually broke into our home and was in the house. We were all sleeping, and they took my dad's car keys and opened the garage, took the car out. So
they got in while you were all asleep.
We were all in the house, and they could have kidnapped us. It's scary, but they actually found our car at the airport like 2 mornings later. But
it is scary, and after something like that happens, I remember when we had our car broken into and things were taken. It was right before Christmas, so a bunch of things were taken out. You feel so vulnerable,
You do.
and it's just like, you know.
It's an eerie feeling.
It is.
Even if, like you said, someone's gone through your car, or if something's off your car, or a door's open, you're just like, could they come back?
Right.
So you have to take the precautions
Good
to do
for
that.
LL Cool J, though, going out. It reminds me of Alex Trebek when he traced down the robber and ended up hurting his foot. So I think these people that think celebrities are easy prey, watch out. They're going to come after you.
Take matters into your own hands.
Yeah.
Get that in. So, okay, those are our 2 hot topics.
Yeah.
The book and LL Cool J defending off intruders. Of course, you can join in on the conversation on our Facebook page, or you can follow us on Twitter at @HR_show. And here's Jeremy Wheeler. I'm sure you have some like grand story, and you fought off this robber, burglar.
No good stories like that. No, nothing like that.
Well, what would you do? What would your instinct tell you to do?
I don't know. I mean, I'd try and defend the family as best I could. I get 2 kids, so that's pretty much the first thought. Like, are the kids safe? That's and then the wife's safe. So. You just got to try and take it. It's situational. Is there a lot of noise, or is there a couple people breaking in? Can you tell what's going on? Best thing to do, though, is just call 911 as soon as possible.
Well,
or the alarm system, hopefully kicks in.
He plays an NCIS agent. Like, that's what he does.
Jeremy does?
No.
That's right.
I never knew that.
Oh, Cool J.
That's right.
So for that to kind of happen in real life, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Good story. And it turned out well, which, thank goodness.
Right.
All right, so let's see if this is going to turn out well. Let's talk about Isaac for just a little bit. Now, this is kind of the track, the soft track there in the orange arrows. And it is expected to either pass into western Florida or possibly into the Gulf of Mexico. And that'll be a big problem for folks along the Gulf Coast, because it could stay as a strong hurricane, even intensify more. But it really depends on what happens after it crosses Haiti and Cuba. I mean, that could really chew it up quite a bit. And, it may weaken it. So far, it's remained a weakened storm, but it should try and get its act together in the next 12 to 24 hours. So will that impact us? Maybe in the long term with some rain, but right now it's just so far out. It's not on the 7-day forecast. Just a few showers Tuesday and Wednesday possible. Temperatures in the low to mid-80s next couple of days. Got a few showers today. Not that much, but a few. And then a slight chance for a shower Friday, Saturday, with dry conditions expected on Sunday. All right, let's take a look at the pop quiz today. Now, keep in mind, this is a NASCAR one. Born in Norfolk County, Chesapeake, it used to be Norfolk County. Raced go-karts at age 9 years old. 2002, nicknamed NASCAR's Iron Man, and 32-year career when he retired in 2007. So put those clues together, and thehamptonroadshow.com. Submit your answer.
All right, every Thursday this month is RIR Thursdays on the Hampton Roadshow. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to see the one last race to make the chase, the Federated Auto Parts 400 on Saturday, September 8th at the Richmond International Raceway. So if you know it, submit your answer, and good luck.
All right, guys, now we are in the kitchen with Chef Tim McGee from Stratford University School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management in Newport News. We're going to get started in just a moment, but first, what are we making? Because you were helping me pronounce it, but just before the show.
A little, you could just say dim sum is fine.
Dim sum, that's easier.
Some different type of Asian dumplings.
Pork shumai.
Shumai and shrimp hagao.
Okay.
And the whole reason being is they said make something that you love, and dim sum is Chinese for heart's delight, so I thought of something that's fun. Plus, it's like playing with Play-Doh when you're doing the fillings and stuff like that. So get your hands dirty, which you're going to be getting dirty a little bit.
All right.
But
now, so it sounds complicated, though, is it?
It sounds complicated, and if you had to do, let's say, 200, 300 of them, you would probably not want to do it. But I think it's kind of good to get into, playing with your food and having fun with it, and,
So what all do we need?
Well, I have some dumpling skins already, but I made a quick little dough that's resting right here. And actually all it is just some starch and hot water. So if you have anybody that's like allergic to gluten or anything like that, you could do it with potato starch, tapioca starch, and that's resting. There's 1,000 ways, just like pasta has different shapes. You can make different, you can make things that look like big wontons.
Yeah.
You could do things that look like little, satchels or purses. So then from there, just steam it up. Have some hot water going, and it's really quick.
All right, we'll get into that, Tim. We're going to get our hands dirty, as you say.
Absolutely.
All right, that's coming up.
It's still ahead on the Hampton Road Show. Don't be a statistic, especially when it comes to distracted driving. We're talking with our friends from Calpas and Nachman about how dangerous it is to drive distracted. But first, bullying can happen anywhere, and it can happen to anyone. We're going to get the facts about bullying from our friends at Chesapeake Bay Academy. Stay with us.
All right, we're back. We're making pork shumai and shrimp hao-gao this morning. This is Chef Tim McGree from Stratford University School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management. All right, let's get started. This is dim sum, right?
Yes, so it shouldn't be that complicated because pretty much it's like stuffed, little pasta meatballs.
You say that, Tim, but I can make things very complicated.
Well,
So
just like my family does, but that's why I went to school. So, okay, so I have some ground pork and then some shrimp. We're going to do 2 different dumplings today.
Okay.
And, like I said, you can flavor it any way you want to.
Right.
So if you don't like too much garlic, too much ginger, you can make it spicy if you want to. So you pick one meat, and I'll start putting some ingredients in there. You just sort of mix it all up together.
Let's do the shrimp. Let's start with the shrimp.
So the shrimp.
All right.
Now, a lot of times people just puree everything in a blender. However, I like to keep the shrimp a little bit chunky for texture.
Yeah.
So it's better if you just break it up with your fingers, and I could throw some ingredients in there. We have some scallions.
Do you want me to get in there?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I've washed my hands.
All right, excellent.
All right. So am I just mixing this around?
Well, you want to break them up with your fingers
Break
a little
them up,
bit.
just tear them apart.
Just crunch them up. This is when you get the kids in the kitchen.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah, just break. Just
break.
Yep. Because the kids like to get their hands dirty. You want to, make sure they clean up first, but, they like to play with their food. So you're just going to make some chunks.
This is fun.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
cathartic, too.
Once you get some stuff in there, I'm going to give you some other seasoning, so just keep chunking them up.
doing it.
And the cool thing too is even if you don't make perfect chunks, which I'm saying you're not doing it perfect, you're doing it good. You can do whole shrimp. You could even mix shrimp with pork, make the dumpling the way you want it. You can make them big, small. That's the whole cool thing about it.
Okay. All right, so I think I've got most of them broken up here.
Yeah. Now the key ingredients to remember is that when you're steaming, you lose a lot of, it's very healthy.
Right.
But you don't want to overcook it or dry it out. So like any type of mix, even like meatloaf or meatballs, you want to add fat to it. Even you can choose your fat, good fat or bad fat, but you want to keep that flavor in there because sometimes, you don't get that caramelization as you do with steaming, so you want that flavor in there.
Okay.
So yeah, just break them in half.
All right, so I think we're good with all
that's
this.
good. Yep. So I'm going to give you a little bit of sesame oil.
Okay.
And you're just going to mix that all together.
All right.
Just keep stirring, giving it a toss.
I'll keep going. Okay.
Yep. This is a little bit of the secret recipe that they always use, a little garlic sauce, chili garlic sauce.
Give it a little kick.
Yeah, a little kick.
Nice.
Okay. And then we also need some crunch, so I have some water chestnuts.
Okay.
They don't add too much flavor, but they give a good crunch to it. So we'll just...
How many is this going to serve?
That can make about 30 smaller dumplings, or if you want to do a little bit larger, you could do, 20 or you know, even a dozen, depending on how big you want to do it.
Right.
You could do, you know, instead of just having like an appetizer, you can make it, you know, like 2 or 3 on a plate, and you know, because you know I like my portions a little bit bigger. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and so from here, what are we doing?
Okay, so from there, that's good. Now, you want to let it marinate for a little bit. It's probably a good idea, so just letting it rest. But from there, we're going to make our dough, and like I said,
I should probably rinse my hands.
Yeah, go right
first.
ahead.
You continue.
I'm going to add some other ingredients to the other pork so that we're working in tandem.
So you're doing we're doing 2 different dishes.
Yeah, so
here.
it's going to be 2 different dumpling skins. One is the more traditional, kind of like the egg roll style wrapper.
Right.
And the other one is a little bit more of like a, I don't want to say, it's like a quick dough, almost like you ever see those steam buns.
Yeah.
On the Chinese buffet. So you don't have to buy 2, you know, crazy different ingredients. You could always season them the same way. It's going to be the flavor of the meat that's going to change it up.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to add that too. So if you already washed and you're going to be my assistant for today, go ahead and mix that up for me too. That
All
way we're
right.
ahead of the game. And then that
You're
one,
making me work a little bit, though.
well,
It's all right.
it's early.
It is early.
Give a little soy sauce. Just a little bit. This is a good Japanese soy, so we don't need too much.
All days to wear a suit. I probably should have
Yeah.
gone with the sleeves rolled up, but that's
Well,
all
they
right.
said you were going to put a coat on, but a chef coat.
Did
but we should have
That didn't
brought one.
happen.
We should have brought one from Stratford.
All right, so we're mixing this around the pork here.
I'm going to give you an egg too, and the reason for the egg is that.
Why not? Just
Yeah.
go right in.
Okay.
And I'm mixing that in too.
Yep, and that's going to help to bind it, just like if we're making a meatball or a meatloaf.
Audience, I promise I washed my hands.
He did. I saw him.
Yes.
Certified sanitician. So, whenever you're cooking with something, especially like this, that has the fat throughout it,
Right.
like chopped up in it, when it gets hot, it's going to want to render out.
Okay.
And so you give it a little bit of binder, like the egg white and a little bit of the cornstarch, and that's going to help to sort of keep everything in there. Because, like I said, when you cook it, you don't want to lose too much of that flavor in there.
Right.
All right. All right. Good. Yeah. So once you have your mixes good, and you did an excellent job, and you
Did
also
I?
stayed very clean too. I'm very impressed with that.
Look at that.
I usually see my students wearing more than what they eat. So.
And you're in high school. You do high school students.
I do,
too.
yeah. I do Norview High School as well. And the reason I'm doing this today is an homage to my girls. We won Virginia State Pro Start Championship with these recipes. So
That's great.
yeah,
Congratulations
so,
to them.
So
All right.
that's good. Let the flavors melt for a little bit, and
Okay.
then we'll just fill them up. I'll show you how to do that. But for the most part, it's just mix it up, refrigerate it. You can just let it chill down for a little bit to get those flavors in there. And then
the fun part comes when
the fun part
we
with the
come up.
steaming. Yep.
All right, we'll check in with you again, Tim. We appreciate
Great.
that. All right, let's head over to the Buzz and Arion.
Yes, David mixing meatballs with the soup jacket on. Love it. And washing his hands. All right, so we're buzzing about our hot topics this morning. We're going to start with LL Cool J, just because he's nice to look at. But he plays an agent on NCIS. There he is. And he fought off a burglar. I guess it was a homeless person, got into his kitchen. It tripped the alarm in his home in L.A. He held him there until officers arrived. There's a little bit of confrontation, but we were asking, what would you do if you found someone in your home? And like a lot of folks said, they know what they would say they would do, but until it actually happens, you probably really don't know. Let's see. Secco on Facebook says, I'd offer him a drink or some of my expensive cigars. Okay. Mia says, wow, he jumped into his NCIS LA character. You never know how you would react. Angela says, it is hard to say. It's a different situation being confronted in your own home, but she's glad that LL is okay. Good for him for taking down the criminal. Louisa Coleman says, honestly, I have absolutely no idea how I would react. I don't think people do until they're actually in the situation, not that you would want to be. Of course, she says, in all likelihood, I would turn and run the other direction, and then I would call 911. Raywood says, pass. Sally says, it is easy to say what you would do, but you never really know. Reba Bloom, she says, I would call LL to come save me. That's might take a while to get there. Mike B agrees with Louisa. James says, well, of all the people, LL is the one to do that. Apparently they never saw any of his videos. He's in great shape. If someone came into my house, he says, the black van is all I can say. The police take too long to show up. Jessica says, if I was built like LL, I would. So, getting some mix, and I saw one comment. They said if they could get past his dog, then it'd be a different situation. So some folks have guard dogs, and then we're also talking about the this book. It's a controversial book that is coming out of a Navy SEAL that was involved in the raid of course, that killed Osama bin Laden, has written a very detailed account of the mission, which is still classified. So do you think this crosses a line? Is this revealing a little bit too much information? Christina Brinker, she says, national security issues are to be kept private, especially those that our military carry out. I could see a movie or something 10 to 15 years down the road, but within a week, the White House is taking to Hollywood producers. She just doesn't understand that. So we've got quite a few comments on that one. We'll read a couple more throughout that. And remember, you can also tweet us at HR_show, and we'll read those a little bit later. Now we're going to send it over to David.
All right, Ariane, we'll take it over here. Bullying is what we're talking about now. It continues to affect children and young adults. If this is something you and your family are facing, knowledge can be key. This is Evelyn Augustin. She's a Virginia certified mediator, educator, and marriage and family advisor with Chesapeake Bay Academy. She's here to continue our conversation that we started a couple of weeks ago involving talk about listening and keeping it real, this time with a focus on bullying. Evelyn, good to be with you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, you and I were talking before the show, and really this has become an epidemic.
It has.
How do you describe bullying?
Bullying can be known as when it causes someone else to feel inadequate or inferior, causing someone else to be scared. It can is the key word. Some kids it doesn't affect, and some it does.
And you were telling me that there's really a fine line here. There's kind of a boundary where some people will take an insult, and it may just be something lighthearted, and they'll kind of take it and run with it and maybe see it as a lawsuit, a potential lawsuit. So there are kind of iffy situations, so to speak.
It really comes down to the person that's doing the bullying and the person that's being bullied. Some people can be insulted and walk away and it not affect them, and then some, it affects them and it becomes a big major issue in their life. Both the bully and the child bullying need to be dealt with, and let's keep in mind, bullying is a symptom. There's other issues going on that I think we really need to get to. Why? Why are kids, even adults, bullying? You know, anger, inferior, they deal with a lack of self-confidence as well as the child being bullied.
Let's talk about moms and dads. You clearly believe that parents have a huge role in this. There's
I
no
do.
question about that.
Yes.
How much are parents out of the loop? How ignorant are they here?
Well, without insulting anyone.
No, I mean,
I
just
think
in general,
they're
you see a lot of it.
They're pretty ignorant. Or should I say, maybe not ignorant, but so involved in just putting a roof over their children's, heads,
Yeah.
so to say, busy working, tired. They're missing seeing the flags that children give out when there's a change in behavior in their child. But, nowadays you have your kid either texting or on the computer. There's no communication going on. So
Right.
how do you know what's going on with your child? We need to, at a very young age with our children, we need to start helping build successes for them, help build their self-confidence, their self-worth. We need to help our children develop a backbone to stand up for themselves and not be easily intimidated.
Yeah, you talk about social media. Clearly, that's a big part of this. And you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have
Yep.
texting. Should moms and dads be like a hawk on their kids? Should they be looking at the accounts? Should they have passwords? How do they keep tabs without pushing it?
There's a fine line. I think it just depends on the child. I wasn't like that with my children, but there was no need for me to be like that with my children. If you as a parent are noticing major changes in a child, that they're always in their room and you're not seeing them, you might want to get a little involved and see what they're doing on the computer, on email, things along those lines. And, I'd like to say let's build a good trust relationship with our children at a young age. So it's very individual on how to deal with them.
All right, Evelyn Augustin, we really appreciate it. For more information, you can call CBA, the Chesapeake Bay Academy, at 497-6200, or we've made it easy for you. You can go to that website you see right there on your screen, cba-va.org. Evelyn, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, David. Still ahead on the Hampton Road Show. If you love a good cup of coffee and are passing through Portsmouth, chances are folks will lead you to this week's I Am Hampton Roads feature. Coming up, we get up close and personal with the owners of Starboard's Coffee Kiosk next. But first, don't forget about our pop quiz. Every Thursday this month is RIR Thursdays on the Hampton Road Show. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to to see the one last race to make the chase, the Federated Auto Parts 400 on Saturday, September 8th at the Richmond International Raceway. Good luck. Just log on to thehamptonroadshow.com. Click on that pop quiz button on the top right-hand corner of the screen.
Yes.
All right, back on the Hampton Road Show. Our live audience today is from the Khedive Shrine Center in Chesapeake, and they're hosting their annual seafood festival. Joining us now is the festival chairman, Joe Ramsey. He's got all the details. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, we've been doing this thing for probably 15 plus years, and it's always had a good gathering. It'll be at Khedive Shrine Center on Wood Lake Drive this Saturday from 1 to 4 at 645 Wood Lake Drive. So hope everybody can come out.
Open to the public, clearly. Joe, help me out a little bit, because a lot of folks see the Shriners out and about. What exactly are you guys all about, and what do you do within the community?
Well, the Shriners' main goal is the burns and crippled children. The seafood feast, what that does is it provides us the funds to operate, so we can do our philanthropy and help and transport the kids back and forth to the hospital. There's 22 shrine hospitals throughout the United States and Hawaii and Puerto Rico, and so we are on the forefront of the medical industry. There's in Cincinnati, if a child or a young adult is burned over a certain percentage of his body, he's immediately transported to Cincinnati, and that's quite expensive. It costs well over $10,000 just to take them up there.
One child.
In the air ambulance. Yes. Now this money is not going to transport the kid. It's going for us to work as a base camp in order to sustain the funds to transport the child.
To continue fundraising as
well.
Right. Let's talk about the festival.
Well, we're going to have some steamed shrimp. We'll have fried oysters, fried fish, fried French fries, clam strips, adult beverages. We have Bobby Smith and the Hot Cakes performing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun time. Jeremy gave us a good weather report. Thank God the 100-degree weather has subsided for a little bit. That'll make it a little more bearable, and we hope to see a whole lot of people out there.
Families out there, too. I mean, this is really one of the bigger events right ahead of school starting again.
Well, it's not really a family event per se. By all means, don't stay home just because you have kids, but it's kind of what we like to think it's when the mom and dad can come out and let their hair down. And
well, I'm glad you pointed that out.
Maybe right before school they get to let their hair down before they get into the rigors of school and dealing with bullies and so forth.
That's right. A back-to-school break for the parents.
There you
all
go.
right. Glad that you straightened that out. The parents hopefully will check that out. Here's all the details. Khedive Shrine Center Seafood Fest 2012, as Joe mentioned, this Saturday, August 25th. From 1 in the afternoon to 4 in the afternoon. You can find more information by going to the website on your screen or calling that number.
All right, thanks, David. Up next, we're going to check back in with Chef Tim McGee. He's on his iPad right now from Stratford University School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management. Stay with us, don't go away.
On your mark. Set.
So naturally, I mean,
On your mark. Set.
naturally, I mean, when you get to be 87, 88 years old, it ain't like it used to be, you know that.
An amazing film is coming to Hampton Roads for its premiere area showing. Age of Champions is an award-winning documentary following 5 senior competitors who sprint, leap, and swim for gold at the National Senior Games. You'll want to mark your calendars for the free screening of Age of Champions. That is going to be September 13th at the Sandler Center for the Performing Arts, hosted by Atlantic Shores Retirement Community. And today we have Eden Jones, Executive Director from Atlantic Shores, to tell us more about this special film screening. Eden, welcome to the Hampton Roads Show.
Thank you for having us.
Just looking at the trailer, it looks a lot of fun, but what is so special about this film?
This film is heartwarming. It is inspiring, and it highlights, as you've noticed, seniors from around the country, some as old as 100. They show a zest for life, athleticism, and the competition is amazing. These people are absolutely inspiring. I can't keep up with them.
And then you're like, I need to get back and doing something.
Absolutely, yes.
So I hear that there's going to be a special guest at the event.
There is. We are really delighted to have Keith Aquat, who is the film's producer. He's coming all the way in from California. He is the managing director of the Documentary Foundation. He's going to answer questions from the audience and give us some behind-the-scenes stories of how the film was made.
Oh, I bet that's a lot of fun.
I can't wait to hear about it.
So I understand this is a free film, so folks can come out and support it even more.
Yes, Atlantic Shores is delighted to underwrite this film, and we are inviting friends around the community from all ages to highlight what can happen with this, again, a zest for life, heartwarming community. So we want everyone to come on around and see it.
So if they want to come, where do they need to go to find out more about the screening, to get in touch with you
They
guys?
can give us a call, 716-3000, or they can visit our website at atlanticshoresliving.com/Age of Champions. And we do ask that they RSVP so we know how many guests to welcome.
And I know there's going to be a little special VIP reception afterwards.
There is a VIP reception afterwards, so it's going to be fun for everyone.
Why is it important for you guys? I know you're really excited about showcasing the different side of folks from, you know, the retirement community, to show them that you're never too old, basically, to give up on your dreams or to make it.
It's almost a second life. People don't realize, you know, when some of the burdens of having to work for a living and raise the kids, it's all about being alive and being active, and, you know, we're all going to cross that finish line. But how you do it is what's really important.
I like that. What do you expect that reaction is going to be like from your residents and people just coming to see this film?
Well, my residents are already incredibly active, and it's going to be nice to know that they have friends out there. I think they're probably going to want to make their own documentary if I know my residents. But everybody else in the audience, they'll probably put on their tennis shoes and hit the gym.
Yes, absolutely, because when you see someone, you're like, if they can do it, I know I can do it.
Absolutely. It's humbling being around these people, and you realize, wow, that's an inspiration, and I should make every day special as well.
Well, the trailer looks amazing. It looks like a lot of fun. Of course, for more information on Atlantic Shores Retirement Community, you can always visit them online at atlanticshoresretirement.com or just give them a phone call, 716-3000. Eden, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Ariane, we have now made our way back into the kitchen, and I feel like I'm in preparation for surgery here.
Yeah, you're all set.
Jacket's gone, the sleeves are rolled up. We're serious now, guys. We're actually going to make this pork shumai and shrimp hao-gao. Tim McGee here. He's going to help us get this all taken care of. Tim's from the Stratford University School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management. All right. We've taken care of all the dirty work. Well,
you did.
Part of the dirty work.
Yeah, I'm not doing dirty work. You're doing it.
I'm doing all the dirty work.
But yeah, you got that done very well, and all season's up. So now's the, you know, you've had fun for a while. Now you're going to have some more fun because now you can be a little bit creative and artistic if you want to.
We'll see how that goes.
All right, so like I said, I'm going to have just all we need to get our ingredients together. So I do have some egg wash just to close up the dumplings, but I'm going to show you how to enclose them, and there's several different types of ways that you can do it.
You can do like little designs too.
You can do little designs, like I said, little purses, whatever you want to do. So this is our dough that I made with the tapioca starch and the wheat starch. So you can see it's a lot different than regular like ground flour.
Right.
So it's a lot lighter, and if you do it thin enough, it almost becomes a little translucent.
Okay.
So you want your dough to be a little bit sticky so that you can get it together. So let you half that.
All right.
Okay. And if it's sticking to your glove a lot, just go ahead and just cover yourself with a little bit of this cornstarch so that it prevents it. Also smooths it out a little bit.
I feel like a gymnast chalking up before an event.
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
So.
Oh yeah, that works.
So now you're just sort of kneading it with your fingers, making it a nice little circle. You want to trim down your edges and make them all nice and smooth because that's going to be the show part.
Okay.
All right, and like I said, you know, we're using, you know, a bigger diameter, but you could do any size you want. Usually by, you know, after a couple dozen of them, you're making big ones so that you don't have to do too many. But you want to just sort of thin that out very good and smooth off your edges. Okay.
Ariane, I hope you're taking notes here.
because there will be a quiz.
There will be a quiz. All right.
All right, so excellent. All right, so now we can work on, it's a lot of different pleats and folds.
Right.
Okay? So for this one, you could do a basic little fold like this, and if it's a little bit dry and not going to stick, you know, you could just rub a little, this egg wash around it. But yours, let's see, yours is pretty good.
Okay.
So take a fold and just sort of give a little, like a little Z fold.
Like that?
Yep, and then just keep doing a couple. It's actually going to start to crimp itself. Excellent.
Very nervous about this.
Well,
I want it to be just perfect.
well, you're doing good. All right.
All right, I think that looks all right.
We could always fill any cracks or any holes like that.
All right.
But we're making a little zigzag, okay? And then get a little piece of your filling.
Yes.
If you have a whole.
Do you want me to do pork?
Let's
we'll
do the
stick to
shrimp.
shrimp. All right.
So go ahead and just
All
put
right.
that in there. All
Got
right,
it.
and then-
Okay.
And then take that other edge and close it up.
Just touch them together like that.
Yep. You can always fix
had a
those
little
holes.
tear.
Well,
Is that
that's
okay.
There's always going to be a tear. But you know,
Let's watch yours. Yours will be the example.
so-
Okay.
As it closes,
Yeah.
you have a little purse satchel.
A purse set. Let's call it a merce. Okay.
Yeah,
A
okay.
purse.
Yeah, because we're
Thanks.
men in the kitchen, so. And then you just keep doing a couple dozen of those. Let me
Yeah.
see. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So now this one, you know, it takes a lot of work. It's, you know, been done for centuries. So if the first one doesn't work, it's still edible. You just cook it and eat it, and you know, don't show this.
All
to
right, let's
anybody.
cook these up.
Yeah. So we got a steamer basket going already. All right, and my electric wok right here. So good idea when you're steaming is to have some hot stock or hot water going at the whole time, because you're always going to, you know, reduce and lose some steam. So you want to just have that. But I'm going to take some of this bok choy right here.
Okay.
And this is going to be, instead of using, well, Cian's rubber band, this is going to be like, instead of using any non-stick spray or anything like that, because they're not going to stick to this.
Right.
But they're going to want to stick to the wood. So, and you can find any of these steamer basket at good, you know, restaurant store or Asian store, but we just want to line it with our leaves so that the steam passes through it. It also gives it a nice little show. So where's your little things right here? Good. So we're going to steam those up
Okay.
and just leave them in there for a couple minutes until the meat gets firm. We don't really have to temperature it because it's just going to get nice and tough. We don't want any raw or anything like that.
Perfect. Okay.
Now for just a couple more, this one's a little bit easier. You take one of these skins. Now these are the skins that you're probably used to seeing in the grocery
Right.
store. Okay. Let's say we want to do some of the pork ones. So
Tim, let's work on this during the break, all
Okay,
right? When we
good.
come back, we're going to actually try all these, okay?
absolutely.
All right, folks, we'll be back with much more. Ariane, what do we got coming up?
Well, still ahead on the Hampton Road Show. Coffee lovers, get ready for this next segment for I'm Hampton Roads. We're going to learn more about the faces behind Starboard's Coffee Kiosk in Portsmouth on this week's I Am Hampton Roads. But first, with kids heading out to the bus stops, it is very important to be aware of distracted driver habits. Up next, the folks from Calpas and Nackman are going to be here with some alarming statistics. Stay with us. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
you?
Paul Hernandez. How are you?
Ariane,
Nice to see you.
see you.
I see you every morning almost. Even in the weekend.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Legal Matters. As kids and teens head back to school, now is the time to think about even more distracted driving. Attorney Paul Hernandez with Calpas and Nackman is here with some important information for all drivers. Paul, welcome back to the Hampton Road Show.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Let's start this segment with just defining distracted driving.
Well, distracted driving is any activity that will take the primary attention of driving away from the driver. It's many people think it's the top two things, which are texting and cell phone. However, the number one reason or the number one distraction in driving is actually talking to a passenger.
Really?
And we do that all day long. Additionally, when you have children in the car, that's a #1 distraction. There's several other distractions as well, and you probably see these on your way to work every morning. Eating. We all eat in the car. We're drinking our Starboard's coffee in the car. Grooming. I know you've seen people shaving or putting on eye makeup.
That does. It's quite alarming.
That's an extreme distraction. Using the GPS. How many times have you driven down the interstate and you've seen somebody with a GPS smack dab in the middle of their windshield? Not only is it a distraction, it's illegal to have it right in your vision, but you can't see out the front windshield. Watching a video. You know, the new cars nowadays with these GPSs that pop out of the front of the dash, they actually play video. That's illegal in Virginia. That's also an extreme distraction. Well, let's talk a little bit about texting. As you can probably see my wait to text wavy band on my thumb. I'm not sure if you knew this, but in 2010, over 3,000 people have died from somebody texting or using a cell phone and driving. Over 416,000 people in 2010 have been injured as a result of distracted driving based on texting or cell phone activity.
Yeah, just to let you know how important it is to just wait. It's not that important that you're going to miss that text message or phone call.
You're right, and interestingly enough, and this is a surprising statistic, you are 23 times more likely to be in a crash by texting and driving than not texting or for any other distraction alone. 23 times.
And especially, you know, this time, kids heading back to school, there are going to be more kids out on the sidewalks, kids at the bus stops. How important is it for drivers just to be extra careful for that?
It's incredibly important to do that, you know, and not only is it for the adults but also the kids. As we know, kids are not really experienced drivers to begin with. You put a cell phone in front of them, it makes it even worse. One more statistic, if I have a couple more minutes.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to tell you, when you send or receive a text, the average time to send or receive a text is 4.6 seconds. When you're driving at 55 miles an hour, it is the same as driving blindly for a football field.
Oh my gosh.
It's an incredible statistic, and if you stop and think about it,
4.6 seconds.
You don't think it's a long time.
Yeah,
no. At 55 miles an hour, it's over 100 yards.
Wow. See, I think when you put things like that into perspective, that people hear, then it may, hopefully, will make them think twice before getting that text message or that tone. Well, some great statistics. Of course, we're going to have that on our website, and of course, for more information on distracted driving and how to get any legal questions answered, you can always get in touch with our friends at Kalfas and Nachman online at legalmatters.kalfasandnachman.com, or give them a call. That number is 800-361-0430. Paul, thanks so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, we're now in the buzz, checking in with what you have to say on our Hampton Roads Show Facebook page. We're talking about our hot topics, and of course, one of the big ones, the Navy SEAL book that's about to come out. It details a first-hand account of the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. A lot of folks coming down hard on this person who came out with this book. He's written it under a pseudonym. We'll tell you what Matt Barzano said. He says, "I think this definitely crosses the line and reveals too much information. These operations are classified for a reason." All right, let us know what you think. Just log on to the Hampton Roads Show Facebook page. Ariane?
Thanks, David. Well, if you love coffee, I do, and you live in Portsmouth, chances are you've stopped by Starboard's Coffee Kiosk right off of High Street. It's one of our favorite spots, and we always talk about it on the show. But it's not just the coffee that keeps us coming back. It has a lot to do with the owners, David and Betsy Cartier, who make you feel right at home time and time again. Hear more about what it takes to run the kiosk on this week's edition of I Am Hampton Roads.
Hi, can I get a small unsweetened iced tea?
Absolutely.
Starboards is actually a nautical term, but we ended up actually tying it in with two local landmarks. One is the #1 High Street, which it's known today. It's the old Seaboard building. And then we're on the site of the old Portsmouth Star newspaper. So we thought Starboard, it would tie in with two natural High Street landing landmarks, and that's how we came up with the name. We have great coffee, but it's so not about the coffee. I mean, people come here, part of the experience, and we have people, literally, they arrive as strangers and they leave as friends. We have 2 tables and 8 chairs. You can't help but sit with somebody that you may not know, but the next time they'll remember who you are.
305. Thanks a lot.
We're fortunate because it's a 2-person show. Betsy's out front. She's the person behind the smile, and really, you know, knows the customers well. Betsy's been Employee of the Year for 8 years. I always get Most Improved.
Hospitality is a thing of the past. It's drive-throughs, here's your food, give me the money. I like the interaction with the customer, and my husband and I went to hotel school. It was all about hospitality.
Having a small, independently owned business, you have to have something that you can really, you know, grab onto and promote. So we came up with the idea of coffee ice cubes, and part of it is when people order an iced coffee, the drink gets watered down. And we've got these ice cubes that actually are bell-shaped with a hole in it. So if you order like an iced mocha or an iced latte, the espresso sits in it and you get the full flavor. Most coffee shops throw out 2 or 3 gallons of coffee at the end of the day. We have a zero waste with our coffee, and we've saved somewhere in the vicinity of 14,000 gallons since we've been here.
People are really shocked. Some of them hadn't read the sign, so they don't know there's coffee ice cubes. So when I put the cup out there, they're sort of looking at it, sort of afraid to ask me what's going on there. And at that point, I start explaining the purpose of the ice cubes, how it came about, and they're so thrilled and usually bring people back.
Everything is small at Starboards, even our brochure.
It's literally not more than 3.5 feet long by maybe 20 inches wide. I mean, that's the space that you have to stand in. We bring in natural spring water every day, gallon by gallon, 20,300 gallons in the first 5 years. We're very fortunate that our customer base has really enjoyed what we've tried to create, and they've really, you know, supported us.
Coffee in town, right?
There you go.
Betsy's really kind of put a face on High Street Landing, and when boaters come, and we get boaters, visitors, and we get locals, and we direct people as to where to go for meals, we direct them for the attractions, and, you know, eventually everybody lands at Starboards.
See you. Bye-bye.
I'm David Cartier.
I'm Betsy Cartier.
We own and operate Starboards Coffee Kiosk here in Old Town Portsmouth, and we are Hampton Roads.
I love those two. You can visit Betsy and David at Starboards Coffee Kiosk Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3. You can find them online and on Facebook at visitstarboards.com or give them a call, 478-0056. We literally live there, and I told you it's more than just the coffee. They make you feel at home time and time again. We did this segment, and David actually brought all of this for us. And over here, David Cartier, yes, not Culver. And those are the coffee ice cubes. Those, like, can you believe that? If you love iced coffee, it melts and it doesn't get watered down. It's just amazing. Yeah, and this is a Benedict Arnold iced tea and lemonade, and then we have iced coffee. This is iced coffee with caramel, and then they're little teeny weeny menus. Love it. So
yeah, when I applied for the job here, that's what sold me on it. I actually stayed at the hotel nearby, and then I went down there that morning and had some breakfast, and that sold me on the area. I was like, I'm staying here in Hampton Roads. So
you have to go there.
Thanks to that coffee stand, here I am. So here I am to give you the clues for today. Born in Norfolk County, Chesapeake. This is really Chesapeake. Raced go-karts at 9 years old. 2002 nicknamed NASCAR's Iron Man, and 32-year career. Retired in 2007. What do you think about that one?
Nothing's coming to mind.
I was going to say Mario.
No, what are you?
Susan, I think, wanted to